Morning, Melanie.
Good morning, Judge. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Redo all of that.
That's the ABC pack.
Oh my God. No, don't answer it. I thought the legislature did. They
You see
did.
that green?
Good.
Good, really.
But I told them, I was trying to put in one basket of fingernail files, what all the tracking you got next to them.
That was last week. They were redo all, they wanted to do the math.
Right. Right.
That's what I was. Moniker and all.
No, you're right, guys. Melanie, can you come out? She wants to be able to get to the girls' thing.
Push John to the corner, just in case you started picking. Well, I'm just kidding. We were trying to measure out. No, you've done that too much in your life. I've been there. Look at the corner.
Judge, this might be junk mail.
Okay. All right, good news. The hour has arrived. It is 11 o'clock, and let's go ahead and call this meeting of Tyler County Commissioners Court to order. Let the record reflect that this meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, and a quorum is present. It is the practice of this court to exercise an invocation followed by a pledge of allegiance. Today, it will be to the Texas flag. It is the second regular term of this meeting. And with that being said, we rotate this around, and Commissioner Marshall will be responsible for the invocation and the pledge this morning. And if there's anyone present who is uncomfortable with this particular practice of the court, feel welcome to either mute your phone or line that you may have at this point, or possibly step out of the room. With that being said, Commissioner.
Father, we come to you today and thank you for your many blessings. God, your continued hand over Tyler County, and Father, we just thank you for all of us to be able to gather here today. Lord, we just pray that you would have your way in this meeting today. Lord, replace our agendas with yours. Guide and direct us. Continue to have your way with Tyler County. Continue to bless us. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Salute.
Honor to take
the
flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Well, the first order of business will be to acknowledge the guests, and we go ahead and acknowledge that there are those who are watching by live stream. There are those who are out in the hallway that are attempting to listen to the proceedings of this court. This is a very important meeting of the Tyler County Commissioners Court in that we will be taking action on the budget as well as the salaries and the tax rates for the three entities that we're responsible for. So we welcome the guests. Part of us, we have attempted to identify social distancing practices within the room itself. We do acknowledge that that is something that is given direction to us by the CDC, the President, the Governor, and the State Health Authority, Dr. Hellerstedt. With that being said, Madam Clerk, is there anybody that signed up for public comments?
I have not received any, Judge, and I don't know if Jill has.
There's Madam.
She has.
She is away today, taking her husband. This is her last day, and she just had to be away to take him to his doctor's appointment in Houston. So we will move on to the consider and approve an informational section of this court's agenda. I'll have the first 5 items for your consideration, gentlemen, and that's minutes from any previous meetings to take action to receive into the record. Madam Clerk, are there any that you wish for the court to act upon this morning?
Yes, sir, we have 2. It's September the 8th, special meeting, and September the 14th.
And those have been transmitted electronically to us to review, isn't that
Yes, sir.
correct? Okay.
I think the commissioner secretary prints them out for y'all.
Okay, there is a motion to receive both sets of those minutes into the record with a second by Commissioner Stirrup, the motion by Commissioner Nash. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed or abstaining? And there are none, and the motion carries unanimously. It'll take us to budget amendment and line item transfers. Jackie, I don't have any awareness of, okay, there's none to take action on. That's a standing item on the court's agenda. So since there's no action, we'll move on to item C, which is the accounts payable and paying of the county bills. Jackie?
Yes, the bills are mostly the normal customary. There's one bill from Sarpro that the district judge has asked me that I make sure that the court was aware of. When I had my offices disinfected for COVID, it did come out of my budget. It's $2,662 that is in with the bill paid. Other than that, everything else is standard.
Okay.
Motion to pay county bills.
There is a motion.
Second.
With the second, heard Commissioner Sturt's second. So with that being said, comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. Item D is the resignation of Kay as the Tyler County representative of the Board of Directors for the Tri-County Community Action. There's 3 seats on that, and there was a vacant seat in my office. And with her departure, she is just letting me know that she's not going to be available to fill that particular seat to represent the county. I think actually that Terry Allen even sat that particular seat in years past, so it's rotated around. All right, with that, I'll go ahead and put it in the form of a motion for the acceptance of her resignation to that seat. Thank you, Mike, for your second. All right, comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? There are none, motion carries unanimously. Item E, I bring to the court's attention just to acknowledge the receipt of the amendment to the courthouse remediation agreement extending the deadline to December 31st, 2021. We did get that final, and it's consummated, so it's official, and it felt like that was something from an informational point that was valuable to bring to the court's attention because we had actually motioned and moved for that in some time past. So I just want to acknowledge that. And if you wish to put it in form of a motion to acknowledge the receipt of it, just so it be in the minutes, and that'll be fine.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you. And there's a second by Commissioner Sturr. All right, any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed or abstaining? And there are none. Okay, we're at the point, Commissioner Hudson has the next 8 items, and Commissioner, you want to start us out?
Yes, sir. All right. Item F is open the bid for courthouse remediation and rehabilitation. And Jackie, how many do we have?
Yeah, too, but I gotta have a motion.
Okay. Motion to open.
Okay, there is a motion. Commissioner Nash, I heard your second. Okay, any comments? All in favor, aye? And it is unanimous. Jackie, would you please open the bids?
That big box one, I'm scared.
The first one is McGinnis Construction out of Silsby. And let me give the standard number copies. His proposal is $1,650,000. For
both, or? Do I put that down for both remediation and rehabilitation?
It's separated.
Well, his proposal form says historic rehabilitation of Tyler County courthouse. Is this,
What is
what
that?
did I say that was? N&T Construction at Beaumont. And the base proposal is $1,100,000. Both of them have alternate pieces, but I don't know what that means, but it's my understanding that, the architect, we won't award anything, the architect will take them and do the bid breakdown, and then he'll bring it back and make a recommendation for y'all. But I'll get y'all a copy of these.
Who was the second one from?
N&T Construction,
E-N-D?
no,
And
just N, the initial N,
Got it.
and T, the initial T,
E-N-T.
Construction out of Beaumont. And that's it.
All right.
I got stickers.
Go to G.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah, so we don't, I just
We're
put
not
it on
going
there
for it,
so it
right?
would be earmarked.
Is anybody come back?
I'll make a motion that we table this
Table.
pending, information from my contractor.
Okay, there is a
Architect.
There's a motion to table item G. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye? Okay, motion is tabled to a future meeting. Okay, Buck?
All right, the next one, H, is to set salaries for the 2021 fiscal year. I think everybody has those in front of them. I don't know if you've looked at them, I did. I can make a motion that we accept it.
There's a motion.
Second.
There's a second. We're in the comments section. Gentlemen, you saw probably where I emailed you last week. After the last workshop, whenever Jill had indicated her departure of being today, then there was no allocation for any backups for it. And as I've calculated it, I just wanted to call that to your attention. It looks like that on the first day of workshop, we transferred our part-time line item, part-time salaries expenses out of the Commissioner's Court expenses with the associated costs with them. It appears to be that they may have been put in contingency, but I just wanted to call it to your attention to let you know that for those 28 days, that potentially she could be away. And the other side of it is, should she take another job or wind up with an extended accident issue, then there may be a period of time. So I just calculated what I felt like would be a respectful but yet appropriate amount of $10,000. Because it does not appear in here, and because we did not discuss it after the last budget workshop, it felt like before we voted on it that we needed to at least call to the attention, since we don't have the line item anymore designated for part-time. So that is my comment to you, and I would respectfully request that you consider that in whatever you're willing to provide. Otherwise, I don't do her tasks. She does those, and if she were out of the office, then those portions of the task would not necessarily be provided for the public. So that's my comments for you regarding that.
Is that the $10,000 total or just for the salary? Is that the liabilities moving into that?
Stephen, I was just calculating just a base pay. It may be that
How many hours did you figure out?
I was figuring 224,
How much an hour?
whatever the court had approved. I think I had calculated for the department, it was like 1974 is what Becky's total value is. If we were funded, yeah, that's what they were paying, yeah.
So Jackie, does the salaries include liabilities or does that come in a different line?
No, their social security and the retirement is a separate line item below.
How many hours?
I think I calculated 224.
So it can actually, if you take, okay, it'd be $765 to cover the social security and $689 to cover the retirement. But that wouldn't, it would be temporary, so I can't see the need to do the retirement. Because retirement is only factored in if they have a set day every week that they work.
Is that something that we need to do right now, or should we, take it as the judge noted, and, if we have an issue, we can go and, pull it out at contingency?
So he's gonna need some money for, when Becky's off, for sure, for vacation and sick days. Somebody can be able, somebody can come in there and answer the phone.
Yeah, and it's just as I had mentioned in the email to y'all, that in the event that there's not a support for that particular task, and I don't have a comfort in keeping the office open by myself, because I just don't do the administrative
I think
task.
the point I'm trying to make is that should be a budget issue, not a salary issue.
Well, because it was originally in the salary, but it's been taken out, and because we're voting on salary, I felt like I needed to call it to your attention.
But for us to correct it, I'm thinking we need to do it in the next, we need to do it when we adopt a budget rather than set the salary.
Okay.
I don't know, I'm just making a question, a procedural question, no, I'm.
Sure. And honestly, Martin, I'm not sure. It's because it is going to be some salary type of compensation.
We're setting the salary, we're not saying how much, what we're doing in this part of the court is actually setting what people make.
Okay. But there are part-times that are included in the salary schedule in other departments.
Yeah, and we're not, I don't think we're arguing the fact of what that part-time would be paid, because it should be in here. And that's what we're voting on. To add to the budget, to your line item in the budget, we need to do that. We need to do that in high,
Okay.
what I'm thinking. And I may be wrong, I mean, this doesn't.
Okay, so we have to go back and vote that in again?
No, I think we can do it, if we're adopting one budget, we can amend that budget, I think. Jackie, can you answer that question?
I would say that you would add, that you would adopt this salary schedule with that modification.
Yeah,
That was
it's not
my-
listed, right,
Right.
it's not listed and the others are.
Because then that would give me the option to list it when I
That's-
post
Okay,
it.
sounds good.
Maybe we can fund it the next-
I wouldn't argue with the fact that we need it, I was just making sure the procedure that we were doing it right.
Adopted in this one and funded in the next.
Right, so the
I think it's-
the liabilities are not in these figures here, so at 6 weeks out, that's 240 hours. 6 weeks and 40 hours a week.
Well, I did 28 days because it was 3 weeks of vacation, which is 15, 2 weeks of sick, and 3 bereavement days. So you have 15, and 10 is 25, and 3 is 28, times 8, and then times,
So that's 224 hours, yeah.
that's what I think.
So at 6 weeks, you'd be 240 hours. And I think she's around $15 an hour.
Not if you count the cost of what
Yes,
we
but that's, we're doing salaries, not liabilities on this. So your liabilities come in the budget.
Whatever y'all want to do, I'm just letting you know, and every how you choose to budget it is.
Right, so this number here is just for the salary. So
I just gave you my best estimate based upon my responsibilities and a deficiency that I knew that would potentially be there that we weren't able to address during budget workshop.
Did you put a promotion?
I did.
$4,000 on the salary side would give you about 7 weeks of off time. That's just on the salary, that's not her liability. That's the number that we go on the salaries, not everything else that goes with it. Other numbers, the other 7%, 14%, that would go on the budget side. On the operating side, right, Jackie?
Sir?
The number we're coming up with here is just salary. It has nothing to do with Medicare, any of the federal tax or any of that.
No, none of it does.
So all that would be added on the budget side, correct? On the department
Yes.
budget side.
You would add the 10,000 to the salaries and then.
Well, I'm considering $4,000 to cover about 7 weeks of time off. At $15 an hour, it's 266 hours, 40 hours a week, 6.5 weeks of time off.
So you're saying 4,000 for just the salary?
$15 an hour, at 40 hours a week for 6.5 weeks of coverage while Becky's off.
Let's increase that a little bit, I mean, because we know that that's about the minimum.
Yeah.
There may be some others that need to be added, and there may be some other days off that need to be added, I think we can increase.
What's that number, Rick? How many days off is that?
I don't know, I have to say. I increase it about 5,000-6,000 anyway. And it has to do with the days rather than the hours rather than the salary. Because you're looking at,
That's 50 days, yeah.
6,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's 6,000.
6,000.
And they ain't gonna spend it if you don't need to.
Right.
I don't suspect.
And if something happens to the FMLA, just,
We can-
we can go back and forth, yeah. On anybody, any department that has that.
Yeah. Motion.
Do we want to amend?
We need to amend it, if we're gonna add it into this schedule, we need to amend it.
We make a motion to set the salary with an amendment to the judge's,
For a part-time at 6,000.
payroll for part-time. Just like that.
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion to the amendment,
Amendment to the motion.
the amendment to the motion. Thank you. A motion to amend, or the amendment to the motion. So all in favor, aye? Aye. And that's unanimous. Now, we go back to the original motion of Bud to set the salaries with the amendment acknowledged in the motion. Okay, any more conversation? All in favor, aye? Any opposed or abstaining? And the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Bud?
Okay, item I is to adopt the 2021 budget. I'd like to put that in form of a motion.
There's a motion, a second. Comments? Gentlemen, I really struggled with this, as you probably already know. It seemed like this would have been an ideal year for us to have captured some savings, which we recognized during our budget workshop, in excess of $300,000 and possibly translatable to 4 or 5 total cents of reduction. Calculations that I've made, it is not something that I personally can participate in, and I want to let you know that before we do the vote. as I'll vote my conscience and concern, as I know that each of you will as well. So just that's personal comment to each of you. Any additional comments?
Yes, sir, I would like to make a comment that we need to keep in mind these two bids we just got on this courthouse remediation. It's about twice what I suspected that was going to be. I mean, any savings that we had will go out the window when we start paying for that. That's all I can say.
Any other comments?
Yeah, Jackie, do we need to modify the county judges, increase that social security retirement for
Yes,
that part-time person?
right, that needs to be the exception, or the addition to the budget that you're adopting.
To cover the,
To cover the salary and the friend would be the social security and Medicare.
okay. You have about a number, of course, we got 6,000 on the salary, can you give us about a number on social security and retirement?
Yeah. So it would be 6,459.
Cover everything?
That would cover everything because retirement wouldn't be needed because it's temporary.
Okay. How much would retirement be if? How much more?
$413.40.
So $7,000 would cover that whole thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what I need to do, but make a
Well,
motion.
here,
to
the
amend
motion before the court right now is to adopt the 2021 budget. And, but you're gonna have to amend it by the amount of
By,
seven.
yes, by the end.
I would like to make the motion to amend the 2021 budget by $7,000
To go into the
to
part,
go into the
county judge department.
county judge's part-time budget. Would that be what we need to say, Judge? Part-time budget?
Does that make sense?
It does. I think we had already set the salaries, so adopting it would be appropriate with the amendment. So in the form of a motion,
Yes.
Second.
with a second, amending the budget for the county judge's office to include an additional $7,000. Additional comments, questions
Okay, so we're
regarding
voting on
the
the amendment,
amendment?
Voting.
not the budget.
Correct.
Correct.
All those in favor of it?
Okay.
I'm not trying to.
No.
I'm just trying to keep it working.
Okay. There has been a suggestion we go ahead and a motion for the agenda amendment. All in favor, aye? And motion carries unanimously. Now we're back to the adoption of the budget with the amendment.
Judge, were you voting on the amendment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, gotcha.
Motion to approve, or whether we done have the motion, in a second, have
Go ahead and call the question.
we? Yeah.
Is this a voice vote, Judge? Individual on the budget, or is it just a tax?
You're exactly correct, Commissioner. Okay, so Commissioner Nash,
Okay,
your vote regarding the budget.
well, y'all, most of y'all know that I'm the whole lot in it, I don't like, I'm not gonna vote for it. The budget.
Okay, so your answer would be no? Okay, Commissioner Stewart?
For.
Okay, Commissioner Marshall? For. Commissioner? That's four. Okay, and the chair votes no as well, so that's 3, 4, 2 against. Motion carries. Commissioner, you want to continue?
Yes, sir. Item J, adopt the 2021 tax rate for the general fund of 0.6782. I put that in form of a motion.
Okay, there is a motion
Second.
with the second. Voting on the tax rate. Comments or questions? Are you ready for the voice vote? Commissioner Nash?
I'm gonna vote because we're gonna need that rate to fund the budget that was just passed. I'm gonna vote for that.
Okay.
For.
Chair votes for. All in favor? Aye.
Who voted for that?
Yeah. We're gonna get it covered. Okay, that takes us, Commissioner, to the next item, okay?
All right, item K, adopt a 2021 tax rate for county special 0.2547. With that form of motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Commissioner Nash?
For,
Okay, Commissioner Stewart? For. Commissioner Marshall? For. Commissioner Hudson?
For.
And I want the chair to reflect its concerns, because when I calculated it, it looks like we're going to generate an additional $35,000. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but it looks like from everything that I've done, so it looks like we're generating actually more money than what we did last year. So I'll vote in opposition to the rate. Okay, so that takes us to item L, hospital.
Yes, sir. Adopt the 2021 hospital rate of 0.2294. I'd like to put that in the form of motion.
Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Stewart. Okay, Commissioner Nash, your vote is?
for,
Commissioner Stewart? For. Commissioner Marshall? For. Commissioner Hudson? For. And the chair joins to vote for as well. Okay, item M.
To extend the NACCO contract for 1 year for emergency standby services and debris cleanup. If I understand this correct me if I'm wrong, we're in a contract with them and we're just extending it for that last year, correct?
Correct.
All right. So I'd like to put that in form of motion.
Okay, there's a motion. Commissioner Stewart had the second. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Okay, that takes us to item N. And let's see, I think Mike, you got that.
Yes, sir, but it's really Marcus, I think. He probably knows more about it than I do. I just
I
signed,
may know more about it, but
I just signed the.
technically, I'm not the guy, just still the guy.
You know more about it than I do.
Bring it up there. We'll talk.
Is Tina here?
She is not. but I know
She
that.
was out there. I saw her.
She's out here.
Yeah, she went out the door.
Bring it on the floor.
Do
Make a motion to bring it over.
a motion to approve.
Okay, here's a motion, there's a second. All right, thank you, Mike. Okay.
Okay,
Any
Tina,
I even brought me back up.
that was smart.
Right?
Good move. Tina informed me here shortly, a few weeks ago, that they're having a tremendous issue trying to get drivers for the bank, for the veterans. And I've been thinking about this for a long time. I would like to go ahead and see us hire somebody to drive that bus at least 2 days a week, so that they can depend on that. And that's one thing, one thing that we need to do what we can for our veterans. And we have quite a few veterans in this county. Tina has some thoughts on this, and I'm gonna let her speak to it.
Thank you, sir.
What's your, 2 days a week suffice?
2 days a week is what's required by the VA, by the voluntary service for our volunteers as it is. I already have the van prepared and it's ready to go. I just talked to Ms. Bell and we have a go ahead to start Friday. So everything is up and running and Scott's driving Friday. The request is for 2 days a week, 2 days a week, 8 hours a day, because sometimes they leave from 5 until they don't get back until 2. Request that the days be flexible, because some days it'll be Monday, some days it'll be Monday and Friday, for the request. 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours an hour, whatever the court decides. I think we agreed on 12.
I think 12, in my opinion, 12 would be, you gotta, we want to hire somebody that's capable.
Absolutely. I did a tentative job request, job description. If you would like to look at that for the requirements that he has for the driver.
Let me see. Your requirements, the VA requirement for both.
Both. I kind of mixed it in. I consolidated everything and made it where it would kind of fit Tyler County too. It's VA requirements, but it's also the stuff that we require here as well.
Do we have any loan or anything to take this money out of it?
No, we really don't, not in the VA.
I mean, just figure $12 an hour for 64 hours a month is $768 a month. So
You're looking at,
$10,000, $12,000 would cover.
yeah.
Can you pay it out of contingency or?
Well, what we probably need to do is get a line item and
I can reactivate the part-time line item in the court appropriation. Or I could put a line item in the, we already have a line item for salaries in the veteran service. So if you want to transfer money from contingency to there,
whatever you think best on that, Bill, whatever, we have no problem, as long as we know where it's going.
well, because it's a routine, it would have to go through payroll.
Right.
So, and it needs to be under
So
veteran
it is-
service, because that's what it is.
The salary cap.
Yeah.
So do we have somebody already or we?
Well, she has a driver that she's been using and he's been very, very dependable.
I think
I suggest, I mean, that's what I would never, I'd hire.
this is the only way we can guarantee that these guys are gonna be, guys, ladies that can
At
get down.
least 2 days a week, we can,
The problem was these people that were volunteering are elderly and.
well, we've had,
And we don't always have a volunteer to take it.
Right.
we've had some volunteers that we need to retire.
That still gives room for the volunteers to drive if they want to drive, correct, on the days that this person,
Absolutely.
okay. It's not doing away with the volunteers.
We just need a dependable, somebody to take, exactly. I mean, right now, we have veterans that go on a weekly basis, that have to go, i.e. cancer or one thing or another. They have to have their appointments. And our volunteer pool is basically drying up. We have one or two, and we have one in the wing that might volunteer. But due to COVID, we're kind of like stumped.
Yeah.
And our volunteer pool is just not there.
We have, Dawn, we have several that are up in age, like me, in their 70s, and one is diabetic and is afraid to travel in this situation. But they're willing to drive as soon as we get through this crisis. So we have several drivers, and there is an applicant pending right now.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If you approve the position as $12 an hour, and there isn't any volunteers, I mean, could you have like a backup that it would go through payroll, that they would still, instead of it just being the one
Say it for
person,
$12.
you know, that you approve it that whoever needs to, if he's out sick or whatever, you've got somebody in the wing that would be willing to.
It would have to be an employee of the county, but I guess you could approve
That's what I'm saying, can you approve?
available hours to however many people that are.
The problem comes in, the van, it has to be approved by the VA, the driver does, and they have to go through the orientation and
Right.
all the testing.
Well, that would be part of the requirement to be hired. But what I'm saying, you hire more than one person, so they don't guarantee them 16 hours a week. You have, if they can drive one day, that part-time person, you have another person that, there's not that wouldn't be a volunteer at that time, they would be an employee of the county at that time.
Or volunteer?
How would that-
To do all that?
That would be more complicated.
Required to do all that?
They can probably,
It's a one-day thing,
yeah,
and they be renewed every year.
employee didn't show, they could probably get volunteers.
Right, but you're not gonna be able to pay them
I
out of the
wouldn't,
county.
I would pay, I would accept the volunteer.
Right,
What
okay.
we're trying to do is set up a schedule,
Oh, yeah, I
a
understand.
16 hours or 2 days that we got somebody lined up.
And I would put it in as hours,
What did you
because
say, Mike?
It was $768 for a month, if you figured 16 hours a week.
$9,984 a year. And that's if they drove every week. Now, they might not be driving
Exactly.
Yeah,
But-
they
but-
only get paid if they drive, if they actually work with them.
Absolutely.
They don't get paid to sit
I
there.
I think
There's
it's
nobody here, yeah.
the way we can, and we don't have to make this more, we put $10,000 in there,
Yeah.
but in the salaries.
Right.
Jackie, that sound reasonable?
Is that form of a motion?
That's a form, that's a motion to amend the motion.
Okay. I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend the motion. Comments or questions? All in favor of the amendment? Aye. Okay. Now, the motion goes back to the part-time driver for veteran service van. It is on the floor with a second, and it now has an amendment attached to it. So all in favor of the motion with the amendment? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And none, so that's unanimous. Okay, Buck, I know.
That's you.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you,
Sir
sir.
Donnie's.
Thanks for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, Donnie's,
Well, mine is gonna be a whole lot simpler.
Yeah, they say that every time.
Okay, so the first one is set the maximum number of election clerks for the general election. And I believe Jill probably sent this to y'all. The amount of election clerks is determined on the voter turnout from like past presidential election. And that's a formula that we use, it's prescribed by the Secretary of State. Since Jill sent this to y'all, if y'all approve, item number Q, I believe, then, we'll be getting a grant that will also pay for them to have a person who is just there working COVID, like making sure voters are, 6 feet apart, that, the tables are wiped down periodically, the machines are wiped down after the voter uses them, that sort of thing. That's what I am requesting.
okay, there is a request, is there a motion?
Item O, I'll make the motion.
Okay, there is a motion. Mike, did I hear you say it? Yes. Okay. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item P, comments?
Okay, and that is to move our polling place for voting precinct 15 at Fred. It has been at the Fred Elementary School. Well, the Warren ISD has now turned that building, it was like their old pre-K building, I think, way back there, close to the art days. It was actually cafeteria. So, the school has turned that, they have done some remodeling and they've turned that building into what they're calling an isolation room.
That's not.
I think I'm gonna be needing that.
They had a different name for it when I went to school.
But, it's again, COVID related, and so now there's really not enough room for the social distancing if they remain at that polling place. And so I've been working on getting it moved to Mount Olivet Baptist Church, which is the driveway right next to the driveway of the school, and the church has approved that, so all we need now is Commissioner's Court approval to move that polling place there.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Steve. Mike, second. Buck, comments or questions?
Thank
Hearing
y'all.
none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. That takes us to item Q, Donnie's.
Okay, this is a grant from the Center for Tech and Civic Life. And we have been pre-approved for a little over $13,000. And this is one that would pay for an extra worker at the polling places, COVID related. It says polling place rentals and cleaning expenses, temporary staffing, vote by mail voting equipment, which I don't think we're going to be needing any equipment, but for vote by mail, and then election and election administration equipment.
Is that a
It's a no
reimbursement?
match.
A reimbursement?
I guess you would call it that. I mean, when the judge signs this and an agreement, I send it to them and they said within 2 to 4 days, they would be putting it in our bank account.
Well, that's not, yeah,
It's,
that's
Pretty
not,
no, it's not, I think it's reimbursement. I mean, they're
not a
gonna,
reimbursement.
they're gonna forward the money to us, but it is no cost to the county. It's a no match grant.
But I do believe that we'll have to provide the receipt, the
Oh, yeah, yeah,
documentation, what
they-
we used it for.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna have a
Absolutely.
person
They're
that
gonna be
needs,
wanting reports.
you're gonna have another person that needs hold to kind of.
Second.
There's a motion with second. Commissioner Stewart seconded Commissioner Marshall's motion. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye? Any opposed, abstaining? Motion carries. Donnie, you're on a roll.
Okay, the next one is, and we've had no amendments. The next one is approved purchase of election equipment to be paid by the CARES Act HAVA sub-grant. This was actually a grant that's been on Commissioner's Court agenda before, like there was a resolution meeting and then there was a subsequent meeting to actually apply for the grant. And, so I've been working on figures and stuff for that. It's a $120,000 grant. The county's match was $16,000, and that has been on a previous agenda that was approved. And, so the top priority was, IT. The Secretary of State's office had a company through a grant from the federal government to come down and audit our office for cybersecurity. And so they wanted our office separated from the courthouse. They explained it like, if you're in a house and the doors are open, everybody is free to go in and out the bedroom doors, bathroom doors, kitchens, whatever. But they needed our office doors closed. Now, I do want to say that our voting equipment is not on the internet. So, it's very safe and secure. But anyway, this is just an extra measure. And so I've been in contact with Donald, who is our appointed cybersecurity.
liaison.
Yeah, there you go, there he is, so we can't tell you about it. And so he said, so we're not gonna have to buy anything additional because the treasurer's office has a domain server, that's kind of what they wanted in their office. That is not being used right now, and so we can set that up in our office, which is gonna save a lot of money. And then, so all we have to pay for is the labor and, anyway. Donald's, yeah, he is estimated that to be around $3,000 all of a sudden, he needs to install that. So I would like to use the rest of that money to buy additional express vote machines. I mean, people like them, they just, right now, the other grant, had one machine per precinct. And so I hear reports that everybody likes them, they just don't want to have to stand in line. And so I would like to use the rest of that grant to buy more express vote machines, which is covered by the grant. So that means the express vote machines, we would be spending like 80 to 136,000, however much we can, however many machines we can get through that.
I'll make that motion.
There's a motion
Second.
with a second. Comments or questions?
Now, this is a reimbursement grant. Correct? We don't get that money until that.
I think we do.
We have to spend that 16,000 first, right? That was on our
I
previous.
think they just go in, because there was another grant that was the CARES HAVA grant, that first grant we got, and they have put that money in an account. I mean, Leanne has received that, and we're just now starting to get invoices in for that.
This is a sub-grant of that.
It is a sub-grant. So I don't think we have to spend the money and then they reimburse it. I mean, I think they just go ahead and send it to us.
And then if you don't back it up, then you get to send.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we don't spend all, yeah.
That's my concern.
It does say, if we don't spend all of it, then we have to, yeah, refund whatever we didn't spend, but.
Are you gonna make a separate line item? Would you make a separate line item for all?
I have a separate fund for that grant.
Okay.
Are you confident you can spend it all?
I'm confident.
Okay.
I mean, those
Are you
machines
calling
or,
him, he'll be able to, do the paperwork or whatever to to not have to pay it back, that's what worries me.
well, Jackie can help me with that.
Yeah, we can get the paperwork. That's
The express vote machines are a little over $3,000 each, and we really kind of need a separate ballot box. And so, and it's a little over 5,000. We can spend it on.
Is your
You can't, we can.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready for the question? All in favor, aye?
Uh,
Any opposed or abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. Donnie, please continue.
Okay, our county court monthly report, Janet got that to Jill, and I think Jill has probably sent that out to y'all already. You know, ours is staying, 25,000 to 30,000 and something, so we just kind of maintain that
make a
every
motion,
month.
we accept it monthly.
There is a motion to accept the monthly report.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item T, Donnie, let's start
Okay.
now.
So, y'all had given me money in this budget for, like part-time it was, and so when we started having all the elections, Kelly had been floating around the courthouse, and so we just got her to come over, whenever she wasn't in someone else's office. And we found enough that, you know, we just get her every time she can be there. And, she probably comes home and tells Ken about all the calls and the applications they've got. Well, they have way over 800 applications to vote on now.
Yeah.
And,
Make a
you
motion,
know,
we
and I
take
can tell you
it back,
those,
Joe.
There is a motion for deputization, and, was that you, Mark?
Second.
That had the second, okay. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Donnie?
okay, I can
One
tell
left.
y'all are ready to shut me up. All right. So the official phone for Casey Whitworth, you know, Casey has been appointed to fill in the vacancy for John Fuller.
That starts
And so
tomorrow.
we just need constable.
Full of Wednesday.
So we just need that approved, it's just.
Motion.
Customary.
Motion by Commissioner Marshall, second by Nash. Comments? All in
Okay,
favor, aye?
Casey will go to work for us.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's all
Is
I have.
that unanimous? Martin, did you vote for
I
it?
did, I said,
Very good. So unanimous.
Second it too, all right.
That's going to take us to the Commissioner's report regarding tax remodeling. Buck?
Okay, we moved the, driver's license office out Monday last week. So they're in there now, doing what work they have to do in there. It looks good, it's painted. We're down to, you know, just the nitty stuff they were doing trim last week. We'll be doing ceiling and floor within the next couple of weeks or whatever. And he assured me that, he's looking to be through with it before the end of October. Now that's subject to change if people don't show up and do what they're supposed to do, but, it could be even earlier than that if people all come on and take care of business. So, we should hopefully have them back in there before tax season. That's what we're shooting for.
Judge, do we have an executive session?
Not that I'm aware of, Commissioner, or you want to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
There's a motion, and there's Commissioner Stirk has a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Stand adjourned. Thank you.
Will the driver's license be temporarily or?
They're gonna be out, 2 to 3 weeks.